Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is the Captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. Spoiler season is over, and it's time to get into the nitty-gritty of Final Fantasy. But before we start getting into the best of lists, it's time to look at the spike list. That's right. Final Fantasy has been causing tons of card spikes and weird things going on throughout the environment. And I think it's time we talk about that because some of these cards you probably have in your quarter bin, and it's definitely time to pull them back out. So, before we get started, don't forget comment, like, and subscribe. Links down below in the description. eBay TCG player, the Discord links in there. Come hang out with me and everybody else and have some Magic fun and conversations. Also, become a YouTube member like my boy Sawyer. It helps support the channel and get you some sweet deals on some sealed product. And, well, I mean, time to plug the Otaku shop, right? 10% off, Capnclydes, your coupon code. Go buy you some sweet anime stuff. I love these guys. I appreciate them giving me a hand. So go buy you some stuff. It'll help out the channel and get you some sweet, sweet things. So let's get into the strange world that we're living in with Final Fantasy. So, Mirko, Obsessive Theorist from Murders at Karlov Manor. This is a commander card. Blue, black, and 1. Flying Vigilance. Whenever you surveil, put a +1/+1 counter on her. Him, it, them, whatever. At the beginning of your end step, you may return target creature card power less than Mirko from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Pretty sweet already. We can see here there has been quite the spike, as it's went from literally 10 cents all the way up to almost $10. Yeah. This has seen some actions, we'll say. And now, mind you, it says here the foil's 27 cents. I bet you money it's not. If it still is, you should go buy the foil. Anyway, point being, this is an incredible spike. But why is this card spiking? All right, so we've talked about what this card does. Let's talk about the card from Final Fantasy that's making it do its thing. It's this little fella. Good old Golbez, the Crystal Collector. So for a black and blue and a 1/4, this enters, you get to surveil 1. Now remember, this here says whenever you surveil, you put a +1/+1 counter on her. So, this has whenever an artifact enters, you surveil 1. So, this comes out first, then she comes out, it comes out, whatever, the vampire. And then every artifact after that just makes her bigger. Plus, at the beginning of combat on your end step, if you control 4 or more artifacts, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Then if you control 8 or more artifacts, each opponent loses life equal to the card's casting cost. This card has caused this card to go up substantially. Inside a blue-black artifact shell that can just go ham on the opponents. So, if you've got this card floating around somewhere, it's probably time to go dig that little fella out. So, with that being said, we also have a spike with Artificer's Intuition from 5th Dawn. You can see here, it was down around $260 maybe, all the way up to $10 again. Foil is really high. I didn't look it up. This is the original printing and the only printing of it, honestly. This is a 1 blue and 1 enchantment that says for 1 blue, you can discard an artifact from your hand, search your library for an artifact card with converted mana value 1 or less, reveal that card and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Also works well with the previous 2 cards, except it's really a 1-for-1. Discard an artifact to get an artifact. You can do some shenanigans like discarding for example, a Pestermite that costs 0 to get something else that costs 1 or less, so you can put the artifact in play, trigger all the effects, put the Pestermite in play, trigger all the effects again, yada, yada, yada. So that does have some play here as well. However, the real reason this card's getting out of hand, well, it's because of this little fella. And this is just one of the Final Fantasy cards. So this one is Vivi. Red, blue, and 1 for an 0/3. Add X mana to any combination of red or blue, where X is its power. Activate only during your turn, only once. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, i.e. artifacts, put a +1/+1 counter on Vivi, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. This works well with that, along with this card. Also, a 4/3 with lifelink, that blue, black, white, and 1. You may cast artifact spells from your graveyard by paying 3 life in addition to other costs. If you cast a spell this way, artifacts enter with a finality counter on it. Now, again, this is great because it just generates mana on this, but if you don't want to play red, remember what this does, because here, artifacts in your graveyard cost 3. This says discard an artifact, which could be anything. It could be a 8, 10, 9 mana artifact that for 3 life you could put directly into play, which would then trigger Golbez, which would then trigger Mirko. It's a giant black-blue artifact cornucopia of crap that will spew onto the battlefield if your opponent cannot stop this in some way, shape, or form. So, yeah. Also, this works very well with the red version. Not a lot of the red cards do the thing, but the ability to discard artifacts and pump this little fella up to get you more mana and just deal damage to the opponent is just insane. So, yeah. Another card we have spiking in the grand scheme of things. Now we're in white-green. This is not going to affect any of the other cards. But Arwen, Mortal Queen, has seen another spike. You can see here she was down $2 again. She has now went all the way up to 10. It looks like she's back down to maybe 5 or 6. Maybe. Doubtful. She's probably still high, but what does she do? Well, okay. White-green 1 for a 2/2. When she enters the battlefield, she has an indestructible counter on her. You can remove an indestructible counter from her. Target creature gains indestructible to end of turn. Put a +1/+1 counter and a lifelink counter on that creature, and a +1/+1 counter and lifelink counter on Arwen. Okay? So the indestructible thing lasts until you move the counter. Not a big deal. You can deal with her unless, for some reason, you proliferate, which is a little hard to do in white-green, but not really. She has seen a spike in the past before. She is seeing a spike now because of this Final Fantasy card. Good old Titus, white, green, and blue. So he's a 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from one target creature you control onto a second creature you control. And whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. So, once you get her out, if you get a chance to swing, and he's on the board, you get to proliferate, easily giving her a second indestructible trigger, meaning you can remove one of her indestructible triggers to give this guy indestructible to protect him, or whatever else you're doing, plus a +1/+1 counter and lifelink, and then she gets a +1/+1 counter and still has indestructible. Rinse and repeat with any creature you control dealing damage to the opponent. A little harder than the blue-black stuff to pull off as far as getting through, but there are ways. I mean, the ring tempts you so that only creatures that have the same power or below can block. Rogue's Passage is a land. There's tons of ways you can make your creature unblockable so that you can start the shenanigans going with her. But she is one of the main cards in this commander deck that has really gone wild, causing a serious spike in her value. So, yeah, getting a little wild out there. Now, another card that has seen an amazing spike is Barbara Wright. So she is a 1 white and 1/3 from Doctor Who, rare. She's a history teacher. Sagas you control have read ahead. I think you know where I'm going with this. With the set having butt tons of sagas in it, she's become very popular as a way to play sagas the way you want to play them, on whatever number you need them on when they come into play. And she's also a doctor's companion, meaning you can also buddy her up with a better doctor that'll help feed this kind of archetype. So yeah, not really a need to, we'll say, show you cards that are causing the spike. It's every damn saga in the set, which there's tons. So pick one. Now, with that being said, we have this gem. So the Water Crystal has made the Infinite Mill combo again. So, if you don't know what the Water Crystal does, well, first off, let's talk about the other cards. So Sphinx's Tutelage is a blue and 2 colorless enchantment. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. If they both non-land cards and share a color, you repeat the process. You can draw with this to kind of get the engine going to help mill. Also, you have Grindstone, which is 1. We know what it does. At least I hope you do. If you don't, 3 colorless, tap, mill 2 cards. If they share a color, when they're milled this way, you repeat the process. Not really the combo that was going to kill anybody. Well, until the Water Crystal came out. 2 blue and 2 for this says your blue spells cost 1 less. So you literally can Sphinx's Tutelage for 2 mana. If an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, Sphinx's Tutelage says 2, so does Grindstone. They mill that many cards plus 4. I.e., target player mills 2 cards. If 2 cards that share the same color were milled this way, i.e., you mill 6 cards, you're bound to hit 2 that are the same. Rinse and repeat until you mill people to death. So, yeah. The Infinite Mill combo has resurfaced. It hasn't won anything yet, but there's a lot of heathens out there making people suffer. And I thought you should all be aware. So if you see a Water Crystal hit the table, for the love of God, kill it. I mean, if you can deal with a Grindstone or a Sphinx's Tutelage, that's fine too. But the culprit in the mill deck is going to be the Water Crystal. Do not let that thing stay on the table, or you will regret it. So, with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. That's the card spikes and price, along with a little mill advice. So until next time, be kind, and as always, I hope to see you cross from the game table.